12 teams, one shot at the Spare Chasm Fin Arena. That's where they're going to be playing, of course, over in good old sunny Odense, the home of all things technology. It is sure to be one hell of an event. But tonight, what it comes down to is actually qualifying. It is so wide open. Pretty much anyone can make it. Only 4 teams guaranteed. One of those, only a 96% chance of making it. There's still a tiny window that anything could happen. But I tell you what, let me pause right there, because before we get into the madness, before we break everything down, I want to talk to you about one thing. The opportunity for you to vote on your favorite player. Of course, PaySafe, they made that possible. You can go, of course, over to the PaySafe fan vote right on the bottom of your screen right there and basically choose who's performed the best. Was it simple? Was it electronic? You tell me. That said, back to the finals. You can win tickets. You can go. John, you're a man who wants to go to the finals. Tell them about it.
I mean, well, we don't even know who's going to be there yet, so I'm going to reserve my judgment. I mean,
anything. Come on.
I mean, it will be super fun. Obviously, yeah. Like all of these teams are going to be going. Best teams in the world. $1
million.
$1 million up for grabs, of course. Yeah. That's a cherry on the top of the cake. But it's still, these teams need to fight it out, and they need to get there.
Tell you what, John, though, let me just pause you real quick, because unfortunately, you could go to the finals, but you're going to have to buy yourself a ticket, because we're not going to give you one, unfortunately. It's just a bit of a tough leg. If you guys want to go to the finals, though, link at the bottom of your screen, you can win yourself a ticket. Go and join Tweeday and the folks, the wonderful folks, in fact, over at BetSafe and PaySafe Card. We completely butchered that, but it doesn't matter. Win yourself a ticket. We're going to pretend that didn't happen, aren't we, John?
What didn't happen?
Exactly. There we go. There we go. We've made a real mess of this, haven't we?
No, hang on a minute.
Well, I'm going to throw you under the bus as well. We're going to go to the table, of course, and you can explain to me exactly what is going on in European Pro League. Of course, Fnatic, North, Astralis, and FaZe all guaranteed, but NiP and G2, questions to be asked.
Yeah, so there's a lot to be played around the 5 to 8 range of this table. NiP and G2 sitting, as you can see, in that 5 and 6, currently looking good to go to those finals. They do have a strong sort of chance of actually winning that, but there is still the edge that can go through for both Hellraisers and EnVy. Hellraisers and EnVy, they both need to win their games 2-0 and with a massive round difference as well in order to make up those spots. But it's really gonna, it's kind of it's a tall order. Yeah, it's a tall order for them. So I'm imagining that the top 6 is going to be fairly rigid, with potential for upsets, but very, very unlikely. Now, where my interest lies is who's at the bottom of this table. It's really looking like Big at the moment. They're really going to struggle to get out of that spot. They're currently sat, I believe, on 23 points, and then you've got Na'Vi and Godsent on 25 points apiece. And yeah, Big playing against North as well. I don't think they're going to be able to get out that bottom spot. So I would hedge. Well, no, I wouldn't hedge. I'd bet that that they would be dropping out into the Mountain Dew League. But the other guys, they still have their work cut out for them.
Well, it may have been a messy start for us tonight, and I think that's certainly an understatement of the year. But the bracket also looking pretty messy, leading me to only one thing. Looking at this list, kind of what games are interesting to you? We've got a lot of CS being played, over 7 concurrent matches, the likes of Fnatic G2, North versus Big, FaZe, Na'Vi, Astralis, Mouse, NiP, EnVy, Hellraisers, Godsent, LDLC, Heroic.
So the 2 super important matches are Fnatic G2 and Ninjas in Pyjamas EnVy, which, funnily enough, are the 2 matches that are being covered on the main stream and over here on the second stream. If G2 manage to take a map, they solidify their position in the top 6 and qualify for the finals. Same for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Both of them, they just need to win 1. And they've pretty much guaranteed themselves that spot and have solidified that top of the table.
There we go, John. We're starting to get into this kind of well-oiled machine now, because the standings and everything is all in front of your screen, of course. The 2 exciting games, they are the games being broadcast. The standings at the bottom are what really interests me, though, because, of course, 12 and 13, you're not out of the sticks, but you're still playing for that shot in Pro League. You're in relegation, of course. You can keep the dream alive, play against the 2nd and 3rd team from Premier, which is looking like kind of the Virtus Pros or the AGO Gamings, potentially even like the likes of Fraxes or Singularity. If you're 14th, if you were Big currently are, your dreams are done. You're going to Premier.
Pretty much, yeah. You're sat at the bottom. You're against one of the top 2 teams, Fnatic and North, both on that 16-8 scoreline, and they're really going to struggle to get out of there. So I just think we're just going to see them drop. Unfortunate to see them go down, but well, they still have a little bit of swing left in them, maybe, but not too hopeful.
Well, let's talk about NiP EnVy, of course. They are going to be the game that we witnessed tonight. Of course, 2 maps of absolute joy. I'm excited by the first, of course, NiP. I think when you look at those players, you look at the roster in general, I think NiP could put up a good fight, but then, of course, EnVy, they've been playing pretty well. I mean, the head-to-head matchup between these 2 teams is kind of a little bit messy. Again, the theme of tonight, so I think they're 6-6 currently.
It really could go either. We've got some slightly odd maps as well. I mean, not odd, but it's the matchup is going to be on Train and Cobble, which are 2 of the sort of slightly left field maps. I mean, Train a little bit more has been.
A lot of Train this week.
Train has been picked up a lot more just in general in pro play.
Yeah.
Maybe they've figured it out. Maybe it's becoming a little bit more standard. But Cobble, I think, is still sort of a semi-outlier. Not quite as much as Nuke, but it's sort of getting towards the fringes of that map pool.
It's funny you mentioned Nuke as well, because again, I feel like I've cast out a lot of Nuke this week. We've just been kind of a lot of very interesting
I'll tell you what, across this evening, we have, I believe, 4 games of Cobble and 3 games of Nuke.
Let's jump back to the other games this evening real quick then, of course. You mentioned the 2 games that are important, one on the mainstream, one over here, but any other outlier games that you kind of want to delve into? Can I give you your kind of 2 minutes here?
Well, LDLC, I think, and versus Heroic, which is I think they're sat in 10 and 11, if I'm not mistaken. That's really going to be crucial in terms of where they end up in the seeding and actually allowing those teams to jump out of that relegation position if they so choose. Yeah, you can see sat in 10 and 11. Na'Vi and Godsent going to be looking to leapfrog them in their matches. Versus FaZe for Na'Vi. And it's versus Hellraisers for Godsent. So for me, it feels like Godsent have a little bit of a better chance of leapfrogging out with that matchup. But LDLC and Heroic, that matchup's really going to decide where the bar is for them to jump.
Be interesting to see if the dream scenario happens at EnVy. Of course, there's this current stat being kind of floating around that even I looked into it and I was kind of like, could this actually happen? Is the dream a reality? And to be honest, I'm not totally sure. I don't think a lot of people are. This takes some real number crunching. It's the same Mihaw's on a plane right now to Oakland, otherwise he better tell us. Basically, they are supposedly the only team across the entirety of Pro League that have a chance to either go to the finals or get relegated. Now, that's like, I think it's like a 3% chance or something. It's a crazy number, but what do you make of that?
I think it's indicative of a league that has the sort of quality of all of these players being on a very similar level. I think it shows you how close this tournament is, that we can get to a stage right at the end where it comes down to the wire and a team can either make it or break it, literally. And it's really good Counter-Strike. I think it's the result of really good Counter-Strike being played across all these matches. Or maybe just collaboratively really bad Counter-Strike, I don't know.
I mean, we have seen some good CS, in fairness to you. I do understand your point, because you know, we've seen a lot of overtimes. That's been a big thing. And with the way the new point system works, of course, if you get yourself a win in OT, then that's an extra point for you, win 2 points. Whereas if you lose an OT, you still get yourself a point. So I think that that's definitely helped, of course, round off the table a little bit more and make things a little bit closer kind of in the point department, because that's where the whole tiebreak and that shenanigans start, based on are you matching on points.
But well, a couple of these deciding matches don't really matter if it's overtime. Ninjas in Pajamas, they can win either overtime or not. Yep. They'll be fine if they win a game. Doesn't matter which one it is. Speaking of winning, looks like there's a favoured team, but not actually very heavily. That's a very close odd line.
I think it's fair too.
And I think it's fair. I mean, both of these teams, they've been showing that they can turn up on the day, and right now, even though it's online, but still, you do want to grab yourself that spot to a dents. Well,
they have got themselves that close head-to-head rating, of course, and that is sure to build up quite the game. I think in terms of players who I'm looking to see step up, Draken definitely an name that comes to mind. Scream as well exist. I mean, all a few spotlights there. Draken for you, maybe?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
sure.
Nothing there. No? Okay.
No.
Let's go away from that then. I mean, that would have been that was something I was looking forward to getting into, kind of spotlight players. I mean, I'll ask you this then: a prediction. You gonna give me that at least, or are you gonna sit on the fence?
Oh, what, on this game?
Yeah.
So I've written down actually my predictions for every game
going
on tonight for the EU.
I'm curious.
So I have Fnatic G2 going 1-1. I think G2 are going to pull it out of the bag and secure themselves that spot in the top 6.
Fnatic have been doing a lot of surprises though. I mean, they upset FaZe recently, which is something.
Yeah, but maybe I'm backing my boys G2.
Okay.
Then we've got North versus Big, which I think is going to be an easy 2-0 for North.
Yeah.
FaZe versus Na'Vi, again, I think that's going to be a 2-0, barring massive performances coming in from the likes of Electronic. Then quickly to round it out, Astralis Mouse 2-0 I have to Astralis. NiP versus EnVy. I think this one's going to go even 1-1. Hellraisers versus Godsent 2-0. LDLC 1-1. versus Heroic.
Well, there you have it, folks. John Observes, the man himself, dropping you with the predictions there. EnVy versus NiP, kicking off now over on Train. Here we go. EnVy, of course, on that CT side, looking to hold down the back of the B site as Rez will deliver the early punching headshot. Happy, looking for something back, but the trades not coming up until Sixer steps into the spotlight. That's a kill for him and potentially more as he climbs up on top of this white Train, tapping down Exist, but a kill does not come through. Happy and XMS having to go through blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen for these French boys. As Draken trying desperately to survive. Happy. Oh, cautious play. Forest getting aggressive through connector, but it begins to fall away now as Draken is all that stands, and EnVy managed to dispatch of him.
Ninjas in Pajamas not quite able to clutch it out on towards the site. EnVy just sitting back, sitting passive, except for that weird push from Happy, who sort of almost bunny hopped down the ladder there and into the line of fire of a Glock, which fair enough, he should have gone down there. That was a bit of a weird.
They had to take the fight
play.
at that point.
That's fine though. They knew they hadn't got the bomb down. EnVyUs really just played passive and they just went for those headshots, managed to land them, and just pressure them out of the round. And it's a pretty standard CT pistol round on Train, but Ninjas in Pajamas picking up a couple of deagles, the CZ as well in the hands of Get Right. Will be playing up towards those B halls, but it looks like they're going to be setting up more towards A. They have got that position towards Pop Dog, and they are starting to breach out of A main.
Yeah, it's mostly Forest looking to see if he can find himself that lucky Huandig, hoping desperately for it to almost land towards the back of alleyway. Scream actually peeking closer into the corner itself, but nothing being gifted over on towards this NiP lineup. As they just continue trying to play a bit of squeeze, damage finally being eked out, but Scream able to continue with the headshot. NiP in worse and worse stead as the game continues to take hold. Forest landing a quick shot, but it's not enough. The trades again really accelerating the round for EnVy. It's just like that, a 4v2 is born. An opportunity for NiP begins to rapidly dwindle away. I mean, look at the position of Scream. No matter what Get Right does here, there should be no win condition. Is there for a second like magic was going to happen, but no, RPK does clean house.
Speaking of player spotlights, I am going to have to go with Scream. I'll give you that.
There we go.
I've always admired. He's the one-tap legend, right? It's kind of his thing, right? And I think EnVyUs are going to be relying on him to bring home the bacon. And he's already done so. 4 kills in the first 2 rounds. He's been a linchpin so far on these holds, but it's early days, early doors, and everything to play for. Ninjas in Pajamas this time. Full Glocks, full B site, rush B, don't stop.
Waiting for that information. RPK, Molly in hand, but drops to the frag grenade instead, which may actually do a fair chunk of damage to each and every player. But nothing will falter NiP. They will just wait for that Molly to fizzle on out, then make that push. The smoke actually making it always be delivered a few seconds earlier as Exist will jump on into his death. And RPK ready to feed the beast. The MP9 Deadly Poison about to unleash its venom all over its opposition, but then his teammates steal all the kills and there's no money for the SMG. I mean, that kind of sucks. I mean, it's $600 at the end of the day for a frag. He got himself 2. That's some good money, but potential for so much more.
Did get 2 kills with the SMG, so not all is lost. And the rest of his team obviously cleaning that up. Only losing, I think they lost 1 player on the push, if I'm right, or I might just be completely wrong. Actually, I think I am wrong. They didn't actually lose anyone in that round.
They spent a fair bit anyway, in reality, of course, on the NiP side, just to make sure they had those 4 rifles, the EWP up on 6, utility all in check. I mean, it's a fully fledged buy from EnVy, no gambles with SMGs or anything really like that of the sort. For them, this is super important, and you can see that by Six's position. He's just going to be bearing in towards Ivy, hungry for that first pick, trying to use that AWP to claw out that frag, but nothing being given to him just yet. Of course, NiP will be contesting it, but they've got a player over, so they'll use that to try and take advantage of Sixer. But by throwing that smoke, or Molly, sorry, kind of gives away the position. He'll just leave, and that chance to take down that AWP, well, it's gone.
Pushing in, Ninjas in Pajamas have gained that ground, and as you said, they did zone away Sixer. He's been pushed all the way onto A site, and meanwhile, they actually have Forest out on site, but Scream on top of the train is going to open it up onto Exist. Forest pushing around the side, trying to get those picks. Not sure if Scream is aware of his position, but the push comes from Ivy. Sixer managed to pick up 1 and actually Get Right, trading it back onto Scream. Sixer fades away and is able to get away with his life and gets another kill onto Get Right. Forest on site gets tapped down. RPK, the one to do so. Now it's just Rez in a 1 versus 4 without the bomb. It's not looking so good for Ninjas in Pajamas, but he lands the headshot.
Yeah, it started off nice and strong, but also 35 seconds. That's just barely enough time. Should realistically be caught out, no matter where he tries to go. I think overall this round kind of summarizes that NiP just couldn't get anything done on those entry picks. By forcing back the AWP, they actually allowed it to do so much more damage being towards that bomb train because he has some flexibility. It just becomes tougher and tougher. Of course, Rez not going to go down without a fight, secures himself a second frag in the round. But he knows he's down and out for the count here. It's all about the exit frags because with 8 seconds on the clock, he doesn't grab the bomb and go be the hero. He just sits in the corner and walks away with that Sunny AK to that 5th round.
Looking to hold onto the rifle, but he did do a significant chunk of damage. They started this hold with 4 players, and they dropped 2 of those rifles. They do have the bank to deal with it, but Ninjas will be looking into that round number 5 to try and buy up and try and refrag and limit that economy. This is a crucial round in that sense. If they manage to get 2 frags, maybe even 3 in this round, will be a bit of a tall order with just the Glocks, but they do have that AK, remember. If they're able to limit the economy going into this round, and again in the next round, they could be in with a shot of taking that round home. Obviously, you see these sort of standard scorelines start to develop over the course of Counter-Strike. You've got the 3-0 start and then the 5-0 start. And it looks like Ninjas in Pyjamas are going to concede that 5-0 and then try and make it 5-1.
I mean, they did see the damage they did to EnVy's economy, though. They know 3 players are going to be around that kind of 3150 mark, which makes buying rifles a little bit more problematic on that CT side unless your teammates can drop you. So I think for NiP, one of the big successes of this tactical pause here is just to kind of rack their brains on where they think their opponents are at in terms of their economy, come up with a game plan of some variety, and then just attack at it. Whether it is going to be buying up some pistols, going for the force up, or even the half-buy play. Yeah, we see that here, for example, Rez, right? He buys the AK, commits to that, of course. Just all he needs is the utility. It's nothing too much. Has the pistols, of course, to join in with his team. They all buy to, I believe, around 2k. Well, I'd make the assumption there at least. That would make sense. And for NiP, it gives them a really good fighting chance to play around that saved AK. Rez the extra utility. I mean, it's a well thought out plan from NiP. It's just where they can actually enter down Ivy. They've got the problem of 6, so they do deal with them 2 quick frags. But they still have more to do. Happy on the site, being that hard anchor. And nothing can stop him. There's 2 kills. Going for a 3rd Rez. He's dead set to walk into that headshot angle. As Forrest tries to contest the site, leaving Rez unhappy in a 1v1.
He has no idea where he is. He has to be very careful with his steps. I think he heard something, and that's going to be Rez coming out on top, and Ninjas in Pyjamas take the eco, well, semi-buy. That's going to put them at that 4-1 scoreline. Now, EnVy's, they've got a weird sort of economy here. Happy on that 7.3k. I mean, you can see he deserved that 7.3k, but he wasn't quite able to clutch it out in the end. Able to get 3 kills into the round, but he is just going to be left alone, and they opt actually to go for that force. I mean, if you're going to be down and out on your luck, you might as well chuckle your money into the ring and go for that sort of full save next round and buy up into the 3rd loss. But it's a little bit of a weird one that they didn't really expect to lose. I don't think we expected them to lose it either. The economy going to be sat sort of in a weird spot for them for at least this round and probably the next one. But Ninjas are sitting pretty with those full rifles and full pretty much anything they could want.
Yeah, right. Needing to be careful, but thankfully we'll check the corner. Should lead to an early frag, and just as that, it does. EnVy, of course, very little to play with here. Really banking on Scream and Happy. Getting some work in, and most importantly, the weapons that they're actually able to find being obtainable. It's all well and good, they pick off Exist, for example. If they can't get his AK, it does start to lose value. Of course, EnVy, 4 players, all with Kevlar, but make that 3 as Rez opens up on the B site. And they all begin to push on out. So much distance here for EnVy. Just adding a further problem. Sure, you got Happy on the AWP, but be the instigator all you want, but you should not be gifted pick after pick. This should be around lock and key for the Swedes.
Remember, of course, you do need a defuse kit, and they don't have one if you want to have that 5-second defuse time. And it looks like they're just going to take that to heart and fall off, try and save that AWP and the UMP as well. Wouldn't be too surprised if we saw XMS potentially going for a little bit more of an aggressive position, but he is actually just going to back up his friend Happy on that AWP, make sure they don't get their hands on that one, or don't take the EnVy's hands off it, more likely, because they do obviously already have that AWP. But they are just going to back off. Just go for the saves. Try and play a little bit passive. Ninjas will take the round 4-2. Now our scoreline, and EnVy's have to decide where they want to go from here in terms of their economic situation.
A real tough spot for them, but they do still have those 2 weapons in play. Because the Kevlar and XMS should prompt everyone else to kind of join the party, just help balance things out a bit. For NiP, of course, this is pretty much their way back in, up to 4-3. Then an EnVy's full buy. Only then can they contest to deny NiP that 4-4 scoreline that they're desperately hunting for. For now, though, of course, it could still be fairly competitive. I mean, you've got these CZs who saw how devastating they were when wielded by these Swedes. Red flag swapping it over. The answer so far looking like a swift no, as the trades all lead in favor of NiP. Xerxes just going to be molling out towards heaven, making things a little bit tougher for Sixer. He's just tucked in behind this cardboard box, and he may well survive. That molly not quite spreading over.
Has got himself a little bit of ground to play with, but they have thinned the troops. The scoreline being reflected in the player count in the opposite direction. An A site will be the plant going forwards for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and I'm imagining we're just going to see another hold here. Happy playing passive over towards that CT spawn, back at B site, just doesn't even want to go anywhere near the opposing team. And Sixer actually managed to grab himself that AK as well from the push that that happened up towards, well, just the stairs down to B halls. And the fact that he's got that rifle is actually a really, really strong pickup for EnVy, because they will be getting their loss bonus from this round. They will be able to push forwards and actually have a very strong buy into this round, it seems. But Ninjas in Pyjamas still saving those 4 rifles, so they are a force to be reckoned with.
Going to be curious to see kind of how things play out now for EnVy. The opportunity, of course, to go for that double up setup. As a Rose. Sixer making me think that he's interested in it. Not because of how long he's taken to buy now, but what he did in the previous round by not investing anything when the rest of his team bought light CZs and such. And that pays off here. He can get the Kevlar up, also get a smoke to back it. And there will be that second AWP to head over towards Ivy, leaving a little bit more flexibility for Happy to go and do his thing over on towards B.
This is a fast, aggressive push-up from EnVy on the A-bomb site, something we haven't seen before, and it's going to pay off straight away. Scream, able to get the spray down, opening the frags in the rifle round. A very crucial linchpin of both of these teams' game plans for this first half, and EnVy already have the advantage. Weren't able to push out a pop dog because of that smoke being in the way, and it's going to mean that Draken wasn't able to get the refrag onto Scream, but he's going to try and go for it now. Turns and peeks out onto A site, but everyone's just biding their time. I think he saw the barrel of the gun and just shot a bullet down there, but didn't manage to connect on anything. Sixer looking for the shots. He knows someone's there. He did see the barrel peek around the corner earlier, so he's very aware of that position. As the rest of his team's starting to flank on towards A site through A main, you've got Exist on the front line, looking to try and challenge Screen there on the side of the trains. They just need to execute.
Problem they've got is they've got the utility, but they're not even setting up before they execute. They're just taking in these contact duels. EnVy should have all the information. They don't know how far up Exist has actually got, so it will kind of depend on him getting that first pick. But already Sixer putting in the work, that AWE picking up that kill. Scream taking down Exist is just almost around crumbling before it even gets going. Draken holding desperately for a pick, but knows he has to get aggressive, but can't see a thing. His timings are all off. It's just falling to pieces. Sixer, a frag on get right. Draken trying to survive, but he's in a 1v5 play. Gets himself 2 quick frags. 3 more up against him. 15 seconds. The man is on a mission to save. That's all he can obtain here. 8 seconds left. Not being hunted. Should be an AWP for NiP in that 9th round, but it will not be going 4-4. EnVy securing their 5th.
A very strong round for EnVy to pick up. That means that Ninjas in Pyjamas, whilst they do have that economy to buy into this round, this is going to be probably one of the... Sorry, EnVy versus Ninjas in Pyjamas. That's the game we're playing, or watching.
What was frustrating there was, unfortunately for Draken, was they had the game plan where they sent him into pop and wanted him to look over the smoke and basically get that early pick towards anyone playing on top of the trains. But because EnVy adopted the close setup, they chose to smoke it off as well, which meant that one way no longer functioned. So he was completely zoned off. You've got 2 players in pop, basically wasted. So he was left towards the latter end of the round. And EnVy took so much control of the back of that. They were able to take down Scream, and everything just kind of fell into play from there. They held all the information, and NiP just had nothing really to work with. This is different. They get themselves picked. Draken and Rez both starting strong. Get right on Scream. Looking so much better. Only 2 players stand. Waving that EnVy flag. XMS trying to instigate a bit of a fight, but he's being pushed on down. Given a 1v1, risky business. Holds it down, but gets flanked from behind. Rez denying the multi-kill from XMS, as he only gets 2. A third would have been very likely.
Happy playing on towards that B site. I'm imagining we're just going to see that extra save there. And Ninjas in Pyjamas with a commanding presence towards Ivy there. That really sort of opened up the rest of the map. And obviously the pick from A main, or from Draken on that AWP, meant that the rest of that A site wasn't able to rotate in and deal with that threat. And what that allowed Ninjas in Pyjamas to do was just completely flank on that site, leaving Happy alone on that B site as well, after Rez got the frag over towards B halls. it was pretty much done and dusted at that point. Happy's never going to be going for that retake, not in a million years. Just saving that AWP. They do need every penny they can get, but Ninjas in Pyjamas again look set to take this round home. They have got those 3 players alive, so pretty much where you want to be sat on save at the end of a round. 3 players is an admirable number. It's pretty much, it's the basic, like, you need at least 3 players to make it work for you on that economic save, but they put 4 rounds up on the board, and they are just going to be able to buy up the rest of those rifles. Team Envious, not so lucky. They do have the AWP on Happy, who, as we've seen, is pretty threatening. They could run into a little bit of resistance, but only a CZ and a Deagle being picked up for RPK and XMS, respectively.
Yeah, because of 3-player saving the NiP, they just don't see the force-up as a worthwhile strategy. They are just going to back down here, basically just use this AWP and a few pistols dotted with Kevlar to try and find any opportunity that comes their way, but they know full well the odds are pretty damn slim. I mean, RPK, given a small chance, I mean, 3 HP for Exist is actually relatively low, all things considered, but a frag is a frag. It does go to the way of the Swedes. And they're making things a little bit problematic now towards this B site, as the bomb, of course, has been planted. And already you can see EnVy just shifting the whole map towards defending this AWP.
It's their pride and joy. They need to keep it on into the next round, because if they didn't, if it was dropped, they wouldn't be able to afford an AWP into the next round. So keeping hold of that, much more valuable than trying to get those exit frags and drop the weapons from NiP. Even if they drop the NiP weapons, NiP do have the bankroll just to buy them back up again, so it won't necessarily have as much impact whilst limiting the economy. It's kind of the 2 sides of the coin, right? You need to make sure you're going for what's best. But Scream will land the headshot with the Deagle and actually pick himself up an AK. So that's, again, that all the better. And they actually, they do take 1 for 1. They take a rifle out of the hands of Ninjas in Pyjamas, but the rifle and the AK being saved up, it is going to allow Envious to just go for this full buy completely across the board. All of them just picking up whatever they so choose. Sixer, you couldn't have bought an AWP there. I think he was on 4,600. So yeah, he's just bought up that M4. Going for that solo AWP setup. Happy potentially playing a little bit better over towards EnVy, but a missed shot from Draken allows Ninjas in Pyjamas to back him up onto site.
XMS going to be looking to cut him down as he tries to rotate in towards T-Con, but the opportunity does not arise. Draken playing around the back of the smoke as Scream, meanwhile, does tap on towards Exist. Smoke soon to fade. Scream still hungry for that second shot. A lot of time here, of course. NiP changing the way they play. All towards EnVy, leaving just Rez towards the tip of Pop. Scream will be contesting that angle. Just waiting for a head to fall on in. Problem he's got to be cautious about T-Con too, of course. He does have a teammate there around the back of Green Train, that being XMS, but it's tough.
Tell you what is tough, getting around this corner with Happy's crosshairs trained all the way on it, but he's going to fall back. Get right pushes now. They've completely left the A site open, but Sixer up on high could find himself with a smorgasbord of Ninjas in Pyjamas. Trying to land the shots, able to get one, turns it on for a second as well, tries to go for the third, and he's spraying it down. That is 3 kills for the hold on Envious. Rez trying to get one, does manage it, but Scream takes care of that one really quickly, and that Ivy push completely shut down by Sixer.
Disappointing play. The way they approached that Ivy push was the whole argument of just 1 by 1. What happens when you push 1 by 1 in CSGO? Well, unless someone gets that headshot, 1 by 1 you fall. Really is that all, that's all that comes to mind. I mean, they just died. Gave so many chances for EnVy to repeak after repeak. The molly did stop the AWP from kind of adding any presence into the round, but you're looking at Sixer, a guy who is able to anchor those positions. Has done in the past and will continue to do it now.
On that double AWP setup as well. Managed to grab himself an AWP and pop himself back over towards Ivy. But Ninjas in Pyjamas have learnt their lesson. They are not going to be going for that aggression. RPK drops the incendiary down at the bottom of the ramp and falls back with a disciplined rotate. Calling over some backup as well from that A site. The bomb over towards B halls. It looks like Ninjas are relatively committed to B site at this point. The utility being thrown out. They are just closing down all of those angles, trying to push from 2 fronts, but they've got 3 players onto site to deal with.
For NiP right now, they know they've been able to rotate at least 1 player at minimum because of the white train molly. They know that player on site is going to be calling for support, which is exactly what RPK did. He dragged on over the likes of Happy to come and join him, and also the addition of Scream. The thing for NiP now is you've used a lot of your utility. You're left with only 1 smoke and a molly, and the rest is all flashbangs or frag grenades, which is no impact in an execute really, aside from getting a good pop flash to actually enter onto the site itself. So they're left in a bit of a tough spot. I mean, For EnVy, they've mostly stood their ground. Sure, Scream is now left connected to go back up towards his A push for information. You're seeing the contact being made by Draco to try and kind of bait that out. But you've still got 2 players on the B side. RPK starting strong, does get the kill. Happy holding off the cross. Frag after frag for him. The frag grenade on the site going to be doing even more. Now just get hungry with his P250. Both these players could fall with just a singular shot, and that's what he's been able to achieve. Get right, flanked him from behind. EnVy, a good round, a good defuse. It'll be 7-5 for them.
Very nice retake there, and as you said, the lack of utility came to bite them. And they just weren't able to cover off those post-plant angles. They weren't able to get in under any cover. They just weren't able to do anything on that B site after that initial sort of attempt and just complete failure.
Basically the de facto double fake, right? They threw all the utility, they tried to pull someone over them, they used Draken to try and make a lot of noise everyone towards A, thinking that would rotate the players back. But once Happy arrived at that site with the AWP, he was not leaving. He was just going to chill the entire round because that little kind of seed of doubt had already been planted. So, because the CT side kept 2 players there, he then entered a mix RPK getting that first frag, which is a crucial role when you're that first point of contact on a site. It just puts all the pieces in play for a successful hold, and then also the retake as well.
That's the thing. Once you've used all your utility, you put it down to a coin flip as to who gets the entry frag, and if you're able to get into those post-plant positions fast enough. Well, if you get shut down 1, even 2 of your players on that first push with no utility, that's pretty much the round over.
That's what counts. It's the whole idea of how many players die on that push. And the fact that RPK got a kill made that whole round doable. Everything fell into place from there. But nonetheless, round 13 is where we are currently at. 7-5, of course, is the scoreline. The pause, once again, has taken hold. And here we are back live. 5 AKs up against a double ult setup. Sixer trying to work his way into a frag Ivy. Draken getting dangerously close to this box. And he peeks out. But Sixer, premature, will have to back away now.
Drops the flash. Pops it away, back onto the site, but he's going to go for the re-peek. Flashbang in response. Sorry, that's the smoke, and the Molotov trying to zone him out, and he's going to take the damage, try and land the late peek, but he isn't going to find anything. Taken down to 36 HP, but over in Pop Dog. 2 headshots line themselves up nicely, and Sixer finally managed to capitalize on his position as well. Forest, finally able to trade the kill back on towards EnVy, but seems a little bit too little too late. So they only have 2 players left alive, and when one of them's on 1 HP and the other one has XMS shooting in the back, that round's not going to last too long at all. 8 rounds to 5, Team EnVyUs storm into the lead.
The likelihood now of a 10-5 will come down to 1 buy. This is 14th round, should realistically be a bit of a whitewash. NiP only have pistols to be dispatched of. Sure, some of them are upgraded to the good old fanciful CZs and such, but that really is all there is to it. I mean, you've got Kevlar and Get Right, sure, but that is literally the only talking point by the smoke and flash. That looks like a deep sandwich smoke that's been thrown, just to stand off the cuff, line up off the wall, goes on over. Helps with the likes of XMS, but nothing going to stop Nick Sixer, who, sure, he's got an AWP, but the Molly already doing pretty good damage as is. He gets the re-peek out, find himself pick after pick. They're playing off of each other, that being Happy and Sixer, of course. You've got Scream. Gives me a bit of ruckus toward the back of these trains. Ultimately leading to the expected result.
Yeah, can't get the drop on Scream. He's just going to whip around and shoot you in the face. It's not going to go well for you. Finding bullets in your skull, I feel like, it really puts a downer on anyone's day.
I feel like generally, yeah.
If I was to wake up with a bullet in my face, I'd be like, no, I'm just going back to sleep.
Honestly, not sure where you're going with this, but I think we've got one clear-cut conclusion, which is if you wake up with a bullet in your face, yes, it's not been a good day.
That was always, didn't really need to be a conclusion. That was the predicate, surely. That was the
premise. I'm a little worried about where this is leading, to be honest.
It doesn't matter where it's leading. We're having a fun conversation. That's the point, right?
About bullets in people's heads.
Yeah, well, Scream seems to be doing a good job of it. He's been holding down that
12-3 right now, I think. So, I mean, I'm a fan.
As I said, play a highlight, Scream, with those headshots.
Yeah.
Keeps coming through. And I want to highlight Sixer as well. I mean, we saw that triple spray down has worked from the top of the train. And again, even though they're pushing him straight in his face with pistols, he's disciplined. He falls back, he drops that incendiary grenade, falls back around the corner, waits for them to push on, and then goes for those peaks. He managed to pick himself up 2 kills on that as well. He's just been so crucial towards that Ivy position. Scream as well, backing him up on the A site. They are a force to be reckoned with, and Ninjas need
to kind of go in here before the push comes in. Happy was actually the player 12-3. I mentioned that stat line. Putting in work with the AWP, which I think is pretty crucial for them. Of course, NiP now looking to make this last buy count. The final hurrah. Rez was able to secure that early pick. Happy being shut down by Rez as well as the second kill does come through. And we're looking at a bit of a fiasco for EnVy as they got stuck with each other in connector. Deep smokes coming in, flashbangs all being thrown, but players all struggling to get out. Sixer finally begins to gain some ground, but Draken is just going to be in there causing such a problem with the AK, but XMS winning that duel. Okay, this shifts things now. It all comes down to Draken. I mean, those duels on the site are going to be interesting. Rez does have a melee to act as insurance. But if Draken gets taken down, then you never know what could happen as Scream just duel off against Get Right. XMS going to be getting straight on towards the bomb. He's holding it, the molly arrives, and Rez, thankfully, will peek along with it.
He did need to stick that one. It was the last round, so I mean, you're not the last round of the half, so you're not going to be getting too much more. But speaking of the end of the half, we are going to be going to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Train with NiP and EnVy.
Folks, welcome back to EnVy versus NiP. The scoreline is 9-6. If you have just joined us, and it really is a firecracker of night of all things the ESL Pro League, so much on the line. As I see a smoke, I like that smoke. Deep connector, of course, coming out from that T side as they look to set themselves up for this B-Fate play. But aggression comes in from Rez, and after dead giveaway, a lot of damage being laid out, but most importantly, he spotted them.
Spotted out the squad. Envious have to fall back off that one. They can't go for the fast push onto B anymore. Potentially looking to rotate, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Draken takes face over towards Pop Dog and tries to go for the shots, but RPK will shut him down, but Forrest isn't done. He is able to get two before being shut down by Sixer, and he is on a rampage as well. It keeps going 2 for 2 for 2. And Team EnVyUs come out on top with the 3-man advantage over the 2 of Ninjas in Pajamas. The bomb getting planted. They do still have Rez having that CZ as well, which is a very, very impactful kind of gun, as we see, landing the headshot onto XMS. Exist as well, with the USP jumping on with the Kevlar, trying his best to find those angles, find those players, but Happy is just going to need 2 bullets to take down Rez, trying to find the rest on towards Exist, and he lands it right between the eyes. EnVyUs take the first round of the half.
Crucial question here. What did Happy eat for breakfast this morning? Because whatever he's had, I want a bit more of that the next time I pug on ESCA. 14-4, great start from him. But it's also the impact he's having there. I mean, that's such a big double kill to find with the P250.
Ooh, look at that. Sixer on 18 kills. He's been having a lot of impact for his team. And I mean, it's reflected in the scoreline. 10-6, they win the pistol round. They're going to be expecting to win this one. And Mac 10s abound for Team EnVyUs.
Waiting closely. That's the mission statement of these pistols. Lurk in the shadows. Catch your opponent by surprise. Sneak in the frag, and from there, try and put a bit of a smash and grab on the weapon itself. problem is, all is not what it seems. EnVy, they know your game plan. They know where you're hiding. And so far, so good. As they take down Exist. Draken tucked in the corner here. Could well be a bit of an interesting one, but we saw that checked nearly every round in the previous half.
Ooh. There's Get Right. Actually manages to get the frag over up the ladder on Pop Dog towards Happy. Has to drop back down, but he's picked himself up a Mac 10. Not the most impactful. I mean, there's a reason you buy these Mac 10s on these sort of counter or anti-eco rounds. They don't do so much damage against unarmored opponents, but they can still do a lot of damage. But Forest doing even more.
Very nice. Chiming in, of course, with Rez. Back-to-back to Eagle shots coming on through. And will lose his life. Rez being still extra spicy. Quick shot to the head of Scream. Just leaves Sixer. Now, a very tough position. 30 seconds, of course, to work with. The bomb on his back.
Smart.
If he gets away, that's a big win. They have no idea. Draken finally should realize as the bomb does get planted. This buys crucial 5-6 seconds, though, for Sixer to basically set himself up in a good afterplant spot. Draken does pick up a Galil, but no Kevlar still. That aim punch going to be brutal.
Does need to find the challenges, though. First of all, Sixer behind the crate will spot him out. He is going to be able to spray down one. Now, 1 versus 1 on the whole. Draken having that Galil does give him a little bit of pressure. Doesn't have a kit, so he does need to go relatively quickly here. So Sixer's going to drop both of those flashes, leave himself with nothing but the Mac 10, and Draken's actually going to be able to land the headshot, and I think he has time for defuse. Ninjas in pajamas. Well, a solid round there. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's down to the wire. Whether or not he gets it. It's going to go white, but will he defuse? There it goes. So, so close. And Ninjas in pajamas take a very, very important round.
A sloppy round as well from EnVy.
Yeah.
I mean, why face at the end there? 0.05 seconds, Sixer. That's all you needed to do was kill off another 0.05 seconds. But you took the fight.
Took the fight. With a Mac 10 versus a Galil, nonetheless, as well, at range. I mean, it's one of those sort of mistakes that you don't sort of see yourself making, and then afterwards you're like, what is going on?
It's a super simple thing, but it's something that's always going to be the kicker in a lot of those scenarios. But we have to wipe it away and accept it is what it is. EnVy still, of course, going to come back swinging Scream. Instigating an early fight down on towards B as he did pick off the likes of Draken. More to be done, of course, over on this A site now. Smokes and flashes all be blooming, all be popping. Things getting explosive for Get Right. As RPK will take his head right off. Forest starting to do its own work. Scream flicking back to Exist. Things are falling to pieces for NiP. That is going to be painful for their economy.
It's going to be painful for more than their economy. It's going to be painful for each of these players. They just came off the win. They needed that morale push to go into this round and really take it home. Because EnVy obviously having that lead, Ninjas in Pajamas needed to come back into this one. They needed to win inch by inch, and they just lost more than probably more than a yard in this metaphor. If we're keeping going with it, which I think we shouldn't. I think we'll leave it there.
Oh god, where are we now? I have no idea. But EnVy, they're a team that we should move on to continue talking about. At the end of the day, they're sat on their 11th. They're looking for their 12th. That should be fairly easy. Their only opposition, just some USPs. John, then the last time you saw some USPs win this round, because I would argue probably, like, what, 6 months ago or something? It's mad. You just never see it. It's so rare. I
think this P2000 is going to come in crucial. Rez picking that one up is going to be...
You would say that, wouldn't you? You would.
I mean...
I'm disappointed.
I mean, it's obvious, right? When you look at it. I mean, the stats don't lie. It's 2000 is bigger than 250. Or, like, which so means it's better than the P250. And the USP doesn't even have a number. Like,
infallible logic.
It's... bigger numbers is bigger, better, right?
Well, let's see if
Turn into Donald Trump.
Going to be shocked there by some USPs. Delivering the miracle round for NiP. So they do have to try and tap for those double headshots. So far, so good, of course. They were able to take down Happy. The B site, though, has been completely overwhelmed. These rifles get themselves in every little nook and cranny, the bomb being planted. Leaving it with 5 players alive and the chance to play for any exit picks. Starks to fall away, though, as, of course, Draken will lose his head to the likes of Scream.
Going to be trying to push in. They do have that Galil, which proved fatal against them earlier on, as we saw that round. That really shouldn't have gone over to Ninjas in Pajamas. But it looks like they're just going to hold on to it. They're going to save it up into the next round. I don't think they're going to be able to buy up into it or around it. I imagine we'll see a semi-buy. Deagles, maybe a CZs being picked up. But for the most part, is just going to be relying on that Galil. 7 HP left on Exist. He will survive with that USP. Obviously, very important that you save the USP. A very valuable weapon, indeed. Okay.
I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, Max 7. Forest is going to be able to pick up the mythical shotgun, playing up close, trying to jump around those corners, land those jump-in headshots. See if he can do so. He is pushed up close towards Pop Dog and could find himself some enemies to fight, but Sixer is on top of that one. Forest does go down, pushes out onto site. Sixer still yet to fall. And there's going to be Exist to chime in with 2, and Get Right finds 1 as well, and all of a sudden, EnVy have no players to push into the site with. There's Rez on the flank, able to shut it down completely. And Ninjas in Pajamas with a flurry of kills very quickly, just shut him down.
Yeah, played it perfectly, of course, adjusting to the molly that came in Train Stopper. Basically meant that EnVy couldn't shut down any of that kind of backside presence towards either Bomb Train or towards the Ivy side of things. And we saw peak after peak, and ultimately the whole objective NiP there was to buy time per res anyway, coming in on that big flank. And everything just paid off for them. It was a very well-played round, thought out, of course, by that CT side. It does make this game a little bit closer now, 12-8, of course, 1 round. Shifting where NiP stand in what was originally quite a shaken economy.
Was it stirred?
You went there. Of course you went there.
What's wrong with that? Don't know what you're talking about.
That's a classic.
Is it? Okay.
Sixer.
Well,
I'm curious to see if he can find this first pick. That's really going to be what holds me over for now. Of course, Get Right playing relatively far back. XMS being gifted the chance to get out towards the site itself. A Scream will secure that first pick on Get Right. It will be a quick switch back from Rez. Molly still holding them over on the site, stopping Scream from planting up until now. About 15 seconds that NiP can work with to get themselves in a more comfortable retake position. A good flash. Sixer actually missing a shot. But look at XMS's position. So unparamount right now. The value he will have as they push on up. He can just get himself to the side of yellow, but no, Exist. Checks his corner. Scream trying to step up, but it will not happen. Forest dialing around with his trusty UMP. Happy has the molly, and that's pretty much what locks it around. Forest, no smoke in sight. We'll just throw a flash and wait and hope.
Oh,
Buddy,
no.
it's not happening. Just run away, Forest. Take the AK. Sixer, maybe a target you can have. 14 HP after all. Draken actually going to take down Happy, so even better. But it will still be EnVy in their 13th.
Ooh. They actually managed to all of EnVy go down, so they don't save any rifles into the next round. They will have to rebuy completely, and as you can see, they're not in the strongest economic economic position. They are going to have to chuck it. I imagine we might see an AWP being picked up, but I think it's more likely that we're going to see AKs being dropped over to some of their allies so that they can actually have that full suite of utility across the board, rather than going for a UMP buy on a couple of their players or something like that. Although, you are going to be playing against EnVy, who of course coming off that loss. They did save up the AWP as well, so they do have a little bit more strength. I believe they're going to be going for a full rifle round, if I'm not mistaken, which I very might be, if that's a phrase. I don't even know anymore. Yeah, but they're going to be picking up those rifles across the board, or trying to, on Ninjas in Pajamas, is what I'm getting at. Or EnVy even. Oh god, this is not going well.
So, let me break it down.
That was a terrible segment.
It's all good. I got you here, right? So, EnVy, because of the losses they took in the previous round, does mean that they can get a fair bit up, but the utility is going to be a little bit whack. That's added to by XMS, of course. He doesn't opt for the weapon, instead goes for a little bit more the molly smoke flash combo. Happy, of course, getting a smoke up as well. Leads them up to what could be a crafted 4-piece from EnVy in terms of the execute. NiP, meanwhile, much better stead. They've got all the utility, all the trimmings. They've got the AWP too, which is going to be their opener. Draken, though, a lot quieter than I really hoped. Do want to kind of see if NiP can revitalize him a little bit more. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Ooh, Forest. Not quite revitalizing Happy there, as he is going to be the one to shut him down. EnVy have got that position up towards Ivy. They have a little bit of aggression going on there, and the flash going to blind them, but not stunt their aggression. Both Lurk players are going to be meeting as well. Get Right will have spotted out that nade flying across, but RPK is just going to back off. Dragon still holding face on towards the Ivy players. There's that 3-man stack there. There's RPK tries and pushes in from Popdog, but it's just going to get shut down. Sixer finds one, Scream chimes in as well, but now it's just Sixer left on site, and Draken's going to make short work with that. Ninjas in Pajamas hold strong, hold fast, and put themselves on a 13-9 scoreline.
Yeah, Forest doing a good job of starting their round nice and strong, and that kind of put the pieces in play for NiP. I think the position as well from Get Right in upper B just meant they had all the information on what was coming towards that A side. Of course, spotting that smoke and then seeing no presence off the back of it means that it's a simple call that it's a fake.
The economy on EnVy completely down on their luck. They will just be forcing up pistols and a little bit of armor as well on Scream and Happy. They're going to try and go for a fast play here. They have been slowed down a little bit by the incendiary and the utility coming out, so they are actually going to have to be forced onto a little bit more of a passive, slow stance that they're not too sort of enamored with. And Get Right's going to capitalize. RPK does go down, and with every passing second, it seems like more damage going over onto the EnVy squad from long-range shots coming out from Ninjas in Pajamas. Happy finally getting a kill, but Exist has the answer.
Still playing towards the back of Trainstar, of course. Just going to be checking off any aggression that could come his way from the likes of T-Con or even Popdog. They are going to be hungry for some information. I mean, they have no real idea what EnVy are going to be up to. I think Rez will play a little bit more passively now. Just aware of the fact that B-play likely could come in. I think it's nice that Forest has kind of arrived to support him as well. It means that they can just look towards both inner and upper together. You have to bear in mind, EnVy, all three players excruciatingly low. 24 HP, 11 HP, and 42 HP on Scream. The contact play towards B really shouldn't work until Scream lands that. Unbelievable. The Deagle opens up the round. The bomb could well be planted now. Rez trying to shut that down, does secure the kill, but no, the bomb is going to go down. Happy. Well played. Sneaking it in, which even if NiP are able to then deal with them, that's still a good win for EnVy here.
Yeah, so they do get dealt with, and relatively quickly. I mean, it was only a matter of time on that retake. Ninjas in Pajamas will be taking that round as well, once they find the bomb, that is, and actually defuse it. There you go. Good job, Rez. But yeah, so they're going to be jumping themselves into double digits. 10 rounds on the board. Envious, having Ninjas in Pajamas chomping at your heels isn't really the sort of situation you want to be, and you do want to extend your lead. And remember, Envious, they are not in that top 6 position. They need massive round differences if they want to be going and putting themselves up in those top 6. And right now, 13-10, that's not a big round difference at all. They need more than this.
Points are pretty good too.
Pardon?
Above all else, points.
Yes, exactly.
Desperately need those points. You know, going to OT, there could be value in that for them. They're trying to secure those 2 points from getting the win, of course, but even then giving a point to NiP could be just as dangerous.
Yeah, I think if... I think it is the case that if EnVy lose this map, or a map in this series, they can't make it to the top 6. And on the flip side, if NiP win a map in this series, they are guaranteed to be in top 6. So this, in a way, is really going to decide the rest of the field, because you've got G2 playing against Fnatic. Obviously, don't think we don't have live updates on the scoreline, but
bear with me on that.
Are they?
Well, bear with me on that. We'll try and get some information on those games so you guys at home. In the meantime, though, we're back, of course, with EnVy. The pistols on play. They're going to be basically half buying to a certain extent here, just trying to do some damage. Most of them are around the kind of 3 to 4K markers. So they could definitely afford a little bit of flexibility offered by that money. Still likely a very tough round, though, for them to actually win.
Forest didn't manage to spot anyone over towards Popdog, but Rez with that nade, we've seen him do so much damage before with it, but he's just going to fall back. Not able to loose the HE, but is able to get away with his life, which is, by all accounts, slightly more important. Utility being chucked on towards the B site. EnVy go for the breach, but Get Right's ready. He has one kill, Rez has the other, and turns around for find a second. And that is going to be 2 players left for EnVy, and not really a speck of damage even going on to Ninjas in Pajamas. Get Right on 80 HP, but that's really sort of nothing to be worried about, especially when you're coming up against a Glock and a Deagle. Either there's not enough to do from the Glock, or there's a headshot from the Deagle, so it wouldn't matter anyway. And Scream is going to show us just how important that is. Just 6 are left. Is going to get shut down with the USP. So a pistol round trade-off ending that round. 11 rounds now for Ninjas in Pajamas.
Right before this buy comes in and we get into this, let me just break down the scores for you real quick of what's going on across the rest of Pro League. Of course, FaZe versus Na'Vi. FaZe 14-6 right now. G2 Fnatic 15-9 up. Heroic LDLC on 13 in comparison to Heroic's 8. A few more games going on, but we'll get into them in just a second as we have ourselves a buy round, of course, with EnVy and NiP. And this one is surely going to be interesting, just based on the fact that EnVy are going for 5 rifles now. There is no AWP. They're definitely curious to see kind of how that changes their dynamic as a team and what the options are going to be. Of course, RPK already playing with Happy just to clear out B, make sure there is no lurking presence towards that upper side. Towards the rest of the team, towards the likes of T-Con. There's some smoke lineups there as well. Flashes to allow them to take pot control. Forest holding it very nicely, though. Gets one. Not only that, gets a second as well.
Can't see the wood for the trees. Forest. We'll see plenty of Ts. And I'll shut them down straight away as they drop on through. Just leaving Sixer on his own, and he will get shut down. Exist is the one to do so, and Ninjas in Pajamas are really bringing their A game right now to try and come back into this one.
To jump back to the score update, Godsent versus Hellraisers. Hellraisers on 13-8 right now. NiP, well, we don't need to go into that one. You can see it right in front of you. North versus Big. They won the first map 16-8. That was Cobblestone, of course. Mouse, Australis, 13-5.
So hang on a minute. Have we got the North Big game? Did you say
the North Big game? North took it 16-8.
Okay, yeah. So that's pretty much solidified Big at the bottom of the table. I mean, their matchup against North had really kind of solidified that for me, but it's just sort of edging ever closer. Do we have? Is the second match started? Do we know?
I will have a scroll for you right now. Bear with me. Doesn't seem so.
In the meantime, it looks like Fnatic will beat out G2 now. That again was another one of the crucial matches that we had pegged, and that's the one that is on the mainstream currently. Meaning that if G2 don't win and Hellraisers or Envious are able to push those scorelines to a favorable position, they could find themselves jumping up. But at the moment, what was the Hellraisers scoreline? 13-8
in favor of Hellraisers.
So even that, they do need a little bit more of that round difference to come in and work for them. But you never know. Anything can happen. It's early days, and certainly early days in this round, as Draken's going to open it up.
Yeah, just going to be dealing with these pistols. They try and get up towards Ivy. There's 2. Can he go for a 3rd? Exist says, buddy, you know what? I could do with a kill. I need the stat right now. Just let me dispatch of that real quick, as he will find the kill. That does leave EnVy in this sour spot, of course. Just 2 pistols up against a very stacked NiP side. We should be finding ourselves in a very even game of CS, and I think that really sums up this evening. Everything is so down to competitive. You said yourself at the start of the night, the Pro League in general has been super competitive. This may have been one of our most competitive Pro Leagues to date, and I think that's shown by the 13-13 here. I think that's shown by the scorelines between the likes of Godsent, Hellraisers. Hellraisers leading away against Godsent is good in itself. LDLC doing well against Heroic. I mean, that's 14-8. Great games all around.
Yeah, it's kind of a golden season, really, for the Pro League. Across all of these games, I mean, you see obviously all this argument about LAN and online tournaments. So far it's all been online, but it's still just been such a good quality tournament coming through. A couple of slip-ups here and there from a couple of the teams, but fast play coming out from Envious on towards the A site, potentially.
Really important now for EnVy to finally pick up some momentum again, dropping the last few rounds, eking in a few on their T side in general, really, but NiP seem much more awake and ready to stir the pot as they've been able to bring it back to even Stevens. Draken, of course, going for that first pick. A shot not going to connect, but he can throw the re-smoke there, and that pushes EnVy back. Waste some time.
That's all you need to do. You Ninjas in Pajamas. You need to force their hand, make them commit to a site, and stack all your players in resistance. Seems to be working out well for them so far. And Ivy, they've really actually clamped down on Ivy. Ninjas in Pajamas have started being able to just completely hold that. I don't think we've seen one successful push in the last sort of 8 rounds or so in this half coming along Ivy for Envious, and they really have their number there. Maybe look at trying going for some slightly different plays if they can get past Forest on the site, and they do just that. They manage to get the frag. That opens up a whole host of opportunity.
Draken has to be so careful. He's always close to these rifles that will push on in, but tries to play the distance card. Exist going to be playing through the smoke. That's a frag for him, Draken. Doing the work towards the back of Bomb Tray, leaving Sixer to try and make it a 2 versus 1. Actually just going to go straight for the plant. He's like, you know what, screw it. I got balls of steel. I'll happily go for it. Jump peek after jump peek. Scream towards the back of Green. Not going to even face off against Exist. Will just drop the flash instead and continue to walk his way up towards T-Con. The shot from Draken, claiming the life of Sixer. Starts to make things just that little bit tougher now for Scream. With the bomb ticks, he lacks so much information here. Should now know where both those players are. Draken baiting the defuse, given a 1v1, the spray comes in. Draken, he's sticky at Scream. Draken lets off, goes for the flick, but straight back on the defuse.
They're going to take the round. Ninjas in Pajamas put themselves on 14 rounds, and Envious as well off the back of that. loss, they're going to be able to have one more round in them. If they take the loss here, that's pretty much curtains for them. They won't be able to buy up into the next round. Actually, no, I tell a lie. There's a bit of economy backing them on Scream and Sixer, so they'll have a decent shout. No, they just haven't bought yet.
And stuff too.
They just hadn't bought yet. They do have loss bonus coming in, but it won't be that sort of fully kitted out buy that they're going to want to play, which does give Ninjas in Pyjamas the driving seat here. They're opting to go for the single AWP setup, chucking that over onto Draken, so impactful over towards Banana and on the A site. We saw Happy do it in the first half. He's trying to be impactful on the A site again, and he does land the headshot, but gets traded out pretty quickly there by Exist.
Yeah, such a good early frag for Exist to fight, and Pizzer's not only back to a 4v4, but that kill pretty much halters this entire A play. It leaves 2 players stuck towards B, 2 players over towards A, that bomb trying to rotate over, and the impact of this T side now taking this B site still becomes quite important, but Forrest was hoping he would get a kill on the rotate, but unable to catch anyone at all, even get right. A much more sour spot now, having to do it all himself. Him falling off, that's an incredible read. Scream, still hunting, desperately pushing it up, spots out Exist, but the kill is claimed. Sixer.
Wow.
Doming the head of Exist brings us right back full circle to 14-14.
That is, well, as I said, that was a crucial round that NVS needed to pick up in terms of their economy. If they'd have lost that, it would have been map point for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and they would have been able to take it home here. But as it stands, we go into another full rifle round to decide who gets this map point. It is 100% going to be going to full 30 rounds in this game, potentially even going to that overtime scoreline. Now, if it does go to overtime, Ninjas in Pyjamas aren't too worried. They just need a win. It doesn't matter if it's overtime. It doesn't matter how they get it. It could be, 500 to whatever the other overtime score would be at that range, but it doesn't matter. But what does matter is that they have already taken an early lead. Rez able to get the first frag onto XMS as they try and cross, and look at the damage as well onto RPK. Landing the leg shot through his ally means that they have a very, very difficult time pushing onto this B site.
Smokes all being lined up. One to go between every train, practically. Whereas another kill from him. Get right, swinging out, nice and wide. The Molly just holding back Scream and Sixer, containing them towards inner, until they eventually have to go one by one. The same old storyline coming back to haunt EnVy. There's 5 players stand off against 1 man. Scream, the guy who's dropped 30 for EnVy. But how much more can he do?
Well, he needs to do 5 more. To be specific, he needs at least 5 more. In this round he needs 5. And then in the next rounds, he needs probably a few more, but the rest of his team will be in the next round. Well, I hope they will. I mean, unless they sort of full on just leave, I don't know. They might just be doing whatever. Scream, you can see he did hear out the player coming from Popdog, and the flashbang trying to bait out the flank. And it is actually going to allow Exist to push out through Popdog on the top of it, but he is just going to win the trade. Scream not able to pick that one up, and Ninjas in Pyjamas put themselves in the lead. 15 rounds poised to take the victory.
That may well have been the killing blow as well to EnVy. I mean, you just look at what they've got. Because they won that round, I mean, Jakey points it out so perfectly, actually, really wanting to highlight that one round that they picked up on that T side. And he's got a big reason to that, and that's just the idea that all that loss bonus, it's gone. There's nothing there to help inflate the money you've picked up. You've been fully fledged reset. Again, you tried to eke out everything you could in the previous round. It didn't go to plan, and you leave yourself with what? Their money, basically, what is SMGs at the moment? I think at a push.
I believe so. I mean, well, they're just going to be chucking everything they can.
Yeah,
they're not going to be able to buy up fully. I imagine there's plenty of AKs, so I don't think we're going to be seeing head armor. And as you rightly say, I think SMGs are on the cards. But that utility, I think, is going to be even more important than even getting those SMGs on board. And yeah, a couple of pistols going to be brought out from EnVyUs, just so they can have that full suite of smokes and the ability to try and go for these strats, because you can have all the guns in the world, but if they can see you the whole time without any smokes, without any utility, there's really nothing you can do about it. And, well, Scream has actually managed to find himself fast onto the B site. He's managed to get all the way up in their faces already. And he has a brilliant position. The bomb gets planted almost instantly, and EnVyUs rapid onto the B site. Not even a frag going across yet.
How has this happened? I have no idea. But what this is a test of the spirit of NiP. Can they actually put together a retake of some sort? I mean, RPK went for an aggressive push. Nothing was done. Happy. A huge flank. But that flash may mean they're aware of what's coming. The first kill comes through, taps for a second, but it falls away from him. Sixer now on the site. Gonna have to try and fill his boots, but this is tough. The AWP coming face first. Sixer picks it up. This could be it. He could make this happen. No. A huge shot to the head of Rez. Has he bought enough time? He may well have made it happen. Sixer carrying this game single-handedly with the EWP to overtime. Absolutely incredible.
Sixer, my man, what a performance. That was absolutely incredible to see. And
the no-scope of his life.
That was the no-scope of EnVy's life. And their tournament life as well. They will be, I'm pretty sure at this point, solidified to be in that middle bracket. They won't be able to slip down. I think with that 1 point guaranteed, they won't be able to do so.
Absolutely, man.
Wow.
You know, sometimes you sit there and you think, I wish I could replay that moment.
Yeah.
Those scenarios right there are the moments where you just want to see, it back. Because that shot, it was quite something. I love it. I really do. Just flicked up, went for the no-scope, and I mean, that's what, yeah. Double off production. They take the subtle hits perfectly. Well done, boys.
Wasn't very subtle.
I want to see how this. Look at that.
That was. Oh, so it was a quick scope. It wasn't a no scope.
So good though.
That was incredible. The fact that he was able to drop down off the bomb car after getting the headshot with the CZ into the smoke.
It's that extra second.
Disappearing. That extra fraction of a second of the frag onto the player who was defusing the bomb, able to stall it out just long enough. If he'd have been able to stick the bomb, if that no scope hadn't have landed, they would have been able to defuse there. I'm pretty sure. With the timings going slightly awry, but as it stands, we go into our first overtime here. EnVy versus Ninjas in Pajamas, and EnVy are not giving up the ghost just yet.
Really quite the magical game, of course. I'm going to take this opportunity to have another look at the ongoing scores throughout tonight's ESL Pro League extravaganza. I mean, there's like 7 games on, so I guess that's justified. Of course, Heroic LDLC 14-12. Heroic bringing it back.
We should call it the Thunderdome or some other.
Come up with a really dramatic name for it, I'm sure.
Original name.
What's interesting is these, outside of this game, Heroic is the only other game being played right now. Map 2 for every other team is pretty much setting itself up, so we'll have to hop onto those in just a second. In the meantime, of course, overtime gets itself ready to start. EnVy versus NiP. I'm really intrigued to see what EnVy will change.
It's kind of weird. I mean, I had predicted a 1-1. I just want to put that out there. A 1-1. So I think this is the map that EnVy are going to be able to pick up. If it of the two, I think this is EnVy's shout here. If they take the loss here, their morale is going to be hit more than anything, and they're really going to sort of, I'd not say struggle necessarily, but it's difficult to come back from that sort of a situation. You know, you put your heart and soul, you drive it to overtime, you really trying to get that win, you grit your teeth and you push and you lose. And that is, you know, such a demoralizing feeling. These players obviously will be having the best of the best help to try and get through it, but you know, you can't, you can never really sort of account for the whole thing. And whoever comes out on top of this, I think, might be able to just snowball that victory into the second map, but that remains to be seen because they do still need to first win this one.
Early flash is all taking form. The push comes in towards B, but Get Right is going to solidify that first kill. Second kill, not so concrete. Happy though with his feet. Oh, they are being nipped at. 9 HP is what he'll walk away on. The AWP, a big part of EnVy's play, already so damn low. Of course, the rest of his team all putting the pressure down towards Ivy. Happy, still lurking for that opportunity. And because he tries to dip in for that frag, that's where he gets punished. Meets his maker, and it leaves EnVy in even more of a sour spot now. Only 3 players remain. You've got Draken in the 6er spot, as we'll call it. Pete comes in, and he's left with nothing. Nothing to fight for. XMS, just try and save the AWP. I mean, you've got 17 seconds. It's valuable to save it.
Yes, it's valuable to save it, but
I mean,
it's overtime.
What else is he going to do?
You've got 16K, right, at the start of the half.
I don't think if it even doesn't matter. I mean, he's got 6 seconds to kill, you know, look for a kill.
Exactly, he's got 6 seconds to kill. Try and do some damage to the enemy team, maybe. Try and go a little bit aggressive. It's not the end of the world if you lose that AWP. Obviously, you do start with 16K in these overtimes. So they're just going to be able to buy up pretty much every round anyway. You can alternate who buys the AWP just to allow for just complete flexibility across the board. But Ninjas in Pajamas do take the first round of overtime. They will be looking to take this one home. Looking for that 19 scoreline. The score required, obviously, 6 rounds in overtime. For anyone who is unaware, is how many you need. 3 and 3 are the halves, and you do need to pick up that 19th victory point. against your enemy.
Right. Look at him go. I mean, he's aware that EnVy are throwing all these early A smokes, so wants the aggression towards B to try and spot out what's going on. Rez playing with him leads to the early kill. RPK does butt heads close range, just at the tip of the smoke, so it leads to at least a plentiful trade, I think you could argue, for EnVy. Problem is, they use so much of the util to get that fake down on A. What have they gained from it? I mean, Happy's position here, I don't think you can argue you gain that from those smokes. That's just the fact that he's in T-Con, you can walk there so comfortably. So a real problem takes hold for this French team, because for NiP, they have the mollies, they have the smokes. Sure, it's all on Draken mostly, but there's so much value in what he can do from that position. He's quite flexible as well. We saw how much Draken moves in regulatory time.
They still have to choose where they want to go. Happy's managed to find himself all the way onto the bomb site, but Draken is able to shut that one down. The AWP lands beautifully. Happy does fall, and they have no option here but to go for this B site. Tate Forest will be lying in wait up close, or just land the headshot, turn it on, try and find a second, but Sixer has a Draken staring down the barrel of an AWP, and Ninjas in Pajamas take a second round in this overtime, putting 17 up on the board. And with a little bit of momentum to carry them forwards, it was looking pretty hopeful for them.
What was good there is I talked about Draken and his mobility.
Ooh.
You see it there from the fact he's on bomb train, rotates from EnVy just to bomb train, and just watches all those possible little rotations. And those little nuances in play leads to that kill, and every kill has so much value in OT. I mean, we can ooh and ah at players beyond 7 frags, but I think at the end of the day for EnVy, they got to 15-15. So, you know, if he steps up, that definitely could play a part in EnVy being able to walk it over the edge. But they did get to 15-15, so I definitely think there's credit on other players who are really putting in the work. I mean, Scream a good example of that. He was on 30 kills before we even reached OT.
Yeah, he was a massive performer for them, and they're going to be happy with that performance. But Rez already has a kill into this round, and once more, Ninjas in Pajamas just take the lead early on. That cross has proved so fatal for them time and time again. Their close-up AWP shots just completely decimating them. Just over and over again. It's not.
It's the AWPs in general on the CT side. They've been struggling now, kind of within these last 3 rounds or so, to get to grips with that from NiP. Forest putting in work as well. Draken that second pick. Forest just tapping away, dismissing his opposition with ease. As XFS will find his way in, an opportunity to go for a quick meander up EnVy. And actually knows the position of Forest, and that leads to a kill. So making it to a 1v2. The AWP gives him the gift of get right. Now it's all on Rez. Oh, timing though. Rez, where are you looking, buddy?
Ooh, so close. That was nearly the save from XMS. As we said, 7 frags, but he can still do stuff like that. It's far from over.
Well, an opportunity at least for EnVy to sit back, relax for a second, figure out what the game plan is going to be going forward.
Try and win. That's the game plan.
I think, yeah, that's a given, but overall what happened there in that first half was that NiP ran at them with these AWPs in terms of his double AWP setup. They changed a fair few positions, but also they just took a lot more duels. The aggression we saw towards EnVy and towards that early B ramp just led to basically NiP getting the consistent kill at the start of the round. And because they got that 1 kill, that's an advantage that you saw EnVy really struggle to sway.
And on constant rifle rounds as well, it's so impactful because you lose that power. And on a pistol round, it's not so much of a problem because you can go for these sort of weird rotations and weird flanks and get those double kills that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do on a round like this against a team with full utility and everything. In rifle rounds, getting that early pick is far more important than on any other sort of a round. Anti-ecos, whatever, it's these rifle rounds that count. And Draken from Ninjas in Pajamas will close out 1. Happy, able to trade it back for 2.
How is he still alive?
He is finally taken down, and now it's just RPK.
Oh, that is frustrating to witness at times. Finally shut down RPK, the only man remaining, and he'll be dealt with. Mad. Honestly, a mad game. I think that's the only way I can sum that one up, but NiP, they played it perfectly in OT. They pushed it over the edge, flawlessly, in fact.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be NiP taking the victory, and that means they have solidified themselves in the top 6. So they are going to be joining, I think it's, what is it, Fnatic, North, FaZe, and Astralis,
yep,
as the guaranteed progressors on towards that top 6 final in Odense.
I'm actually really excited to see how Odense plays out, of course. The 12 best teams across Pro League all battling their way there for a chance of a $1 million playing in the Sverkassen Arena. But before we get into more details of that, let's take a look at some of the crucial moments of this game. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of AWP playing here, a few triple kills from... so we'll still talk about Sixer's triple kill here. Just the way he locks it down as they come pushing up through EnVy. I mean, EnVy, they did have control of the game for a fair bit, but I do think there's one big shot that comes into play. What took it to OT? I mean, that's going to be quite an emotional shot. Yeah,
Sixer's flick with the AWP was so crucial in order to sort of secure that. But after that, Ninjas in Pajamas were like, oh yeah, guys, we're playing Counter-Strike, remember? And they were like, oh yeah, cool. And they did actually manage to get that one through. So Ninjas in Pajamas take the victory here, but we do have some other results across the board. We've got Fnatic going 16-9 versus G2. We've got North 16-8 versus Big. FaZe 16-6 versus Na'Vi. It's a countdown. Astralis 16-5 versus Mouse. And then we break the trend with Hellraisers versus Godsend 16-8 to Hellraisers. And Heroic LDLC still yet to be decided.
I think that's gone to OT.
I believe so. I mean, it must have done, if it's on a similar time frame.
I'm assuming it has. The last time we checked into it, we saw Heroic, of course, bringing it back from something like a 14-6, if I recall, or a 12-6, sorry, and then they actually were putting in pretty good work, and they were up to 9, so definitely curious to see what the scoreline is, of course, between Heroic and LDLC, so we'll have to wait for some news on that one. But just looking down this list of results you've got in front of you, anything that sticks out, I think for me, it's good to see Fnatic getting that 69. Fnatic, again, of course, starting to get more consistent results, especially with the win against FaZe recently. I think that really helped kind of validate Fnatic a whole lot more.
Yeah. They've really been just putting in the work. I mean, no one's really sort of paying attention to them in the context of this tournament, but in general, they did have a little bit of a slump. They did have a little bit of time.
There's a lot that was going on around Fnatic, in fairness, right?
Yeah.
So roster changing and such.
Yeah,
so.
They've had a little bit of a, as I say, a little bit of a slump. They've had a little bit of underperforming going on, but I'm hopeful they're back to form. I've been a long-standing fan. They're one of the longest-standing orgs going on, and just in general across different games as well, not just Counter-Strike. And I've been following their progression for a couple of years. They've got some nice stuff going on, but the rest of these teams, they have been putting in the work as well. I mean, we've seen North draw even on them on that top score table, and obviously they beat Big and just trying to get that round difference back. I don't think that's going to really go for a switch. I think the round difference is just enough between the two that it's kind of solidified.
Let's take a look at the standings table in just a second, but before that comes up, Na'Vi, I think it's an unfortunate result for them. 6 rounds is, I kind of hope for a little bit more.
And Mouse as well, 5 rounds.
Yeah. But anyway, the standings. So let's see if your theories are correct. I mean, looking at some of those round difference numbers
aren't updated, I believe. Yeah,
but we can do some.
Yes, we can work it out.
We can do some napkin math. I know it's what you're a connoisseur of all that. So.
Oh right. Okay. So Fnatic will be on. Oh, we don't have the points on here either.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate because it means we can't actually figure.
Has just dawned on me.
Don't have the points on here, but I believe it was Fnatic North were even on points at the top, and both had taken that win. And the round difference you can see is going to mean that Fnatic will just be still sat at the top, and North will just be bringing up in that second place. Astralis taking that 16-5 will mean that they are up to a 16-9 scoreline, jumping on the heels of those 17-8 scorelines from both Fnatic and North. So I believe that first 3 is really going to be pretty solid. FaZe as well, doing the same thing. Not much movement there, but Ninjas in Pajamas solidifying their position now. 15-10 on the board. That's all they needed, those 15 wins. And the points, I did look earlier and I did double check on the point score, but I can't remember off the top of my head what they're at. They had 40 points. I can remember off the top of my head.
There we go.
They had 40 points, which was, with an overtime win, will put them up to 42 points and allow them that solid spot being collected. And then I believe we got G2 on 38 points. Now I'm really stretching my memory capacity at this stage. They are on 39 because they lost, so they were on 39 before.
Yep.
So that was a one-off, I'll take that. But they do need to try and get that win into the next round if they want to be in with a chance of going for it. But what really matters is the performance of Hellraisers and EnVyUs.
Yeah.
EnVyUs.
I mean, that 16-8, I think, for Hellraisers is already a pretty
that's doomed them
for me.
That's doomed them, I'm pretty sure.
You think?
Oh, sorry, no. The other way around. 16-8. Yeah. For Hellraisers, they do still need a significant difference in round score to be able to overtake G2, even if they're able to sort of close it out. If G2 are able to pick up a win, that will solidify them, but there's still this sort of little bit of discrepancy between these two. I mean, as we said, Fnatic really starting to pick up their game, so G2 have their work cut out.
Well, folks, what we are going to do now is we're going to head to hopefully what will be a very short break. Of course, if you want some information, want to know pretty much exactly what's going on throughout the entire ESL Pro League sphere, then head on over to, of course, the ESL Pro League portal. You can find it by pretty much just typing in ESLCS on Google or on Twitter. The information is all pretty much right there for you, served up on a silver platter. But in the meantime, we are going to be heading to a short break. We'll be back with you when every game is completed for the second map between these two teams.